This country was built on a distinctly American work ethic. But today, work is in trouble. We've outsourced most of our manufacturing to other countries. And with that, we sent away good jobs and diminished our capability to make things. American Giant is a clothing company that's pushing back against this tide. They make a variety of high-quality clothing and activewear, like sweatshirts, jeans, dresses, jackets, and so much more. All made right here in the USA, from growing the cotton to adding the final touches. So when you buy American Giant, you create jobs for seamsters, cutters, and factory workers in towns and cities across the United States. And it's about more than an income. Jobs bring pride, purpose. They stitch people together. If all that sounds good to you, visit American-Giant.com and get 20% off your first order when you use code STAPLE20 at checkout. That's 20% off your first order at American-Giant.com with promo code STAPLE20.
Unlock your dream property with Meeks Realty Group, where Rich the Realtor makes real estate dreams a reality. Whether it's residential or commercial, we've got Charleston to Huntington covered. Your key to exceptional real estate experiences start here. Meeks Realty Group. Contact us at meeks.us.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
Hey, folks, say good Monday morning to you. Welcome to the show. Ryan Nicholson, senior producer in charge of things this morning. Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly, hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Vitaylor, text 304-935-5008. We come to you from the Jarrett Construction Studios. Right on time, right on budget. Visit jarrett-construction.com. Phone calls to the show with service of Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly. Spring Street, Charleston. Texting services provided by West Virginia's finest men's store, Tony the Tailor, on Virginia Street, Charleston. Dressed to impress for the Kentucky Derby with a visit to Tony. And don't forget the suits for graduation, too. Visit Tony the Tailor on Facebook or BestMasterTailor.com. Coming up a little bit later on in the show, we got, number one of the things we're going to be looking at today is some severe weather, which is expected for pretty much all of West Virginia. Bryan Hughes from StormTracker 13 is going to join us to talk about that a little bit later on. Plus, we're going to tell you about a special foundation that has been established by the parents of a young man who Maddox Potter, who passed away not long ago. And his parents they wanted to do something to honor their son and to help others, so we're going to talk to them about that. We'll put a wrap on the legislature. It all came to an end on Saturday night. TJ Meadows will join us toward the end of the show to talk about that. Plus, your calls and texts are always welcome. Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline, 304-345-5858. Tony Vitaylor, text 304-935-5008. Let's welcome to the show now, though, Charleston City Councilman Emmett Pepper. How are you, sir?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Welcome to the new digs here.
This is awesome. This is so cool.
It is awesome. Yeah. It'll be even better when we learn how to operate everything, you know. Also have Audrey Conn, who is a small business liaison for the city. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Dave.
Thank you for being here, making your debut on the show.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I'm a big fan.
All right. Well, you got Emmett Pepper here, so Emmett will walk you through anything that you don't know. Sergeant Pepper, I'm sure you've never heard that before. I couldn't
Doctor
resist.
too.
Yeah, Dr. Pepper. But before we get to Audrey to talk about some small business things going on in Charleston, I want to ask you about City Council. What's going on in City Council? You got a meeting tonight. You guys, what are you taking a look at? Let's get to that first.
Oh, well, City Council, there's no City Council meeting tonight.
Okay.
Tomorrow we have a mandated one that we have to do for like 5 minutes to do something with taxes. But there is actually a City Council meeting tonight that's not the full council. It's a committee meeting. And the issue that I seem to keep talking about a lot in the last couple months has been street sweeping. And so we're looking at the ways to do that in the best way. I've spent a lot more time than I ever thought I would on this issue, but I want to get it right. And so there's a little bit of a sunk cost fallacy here where I've already spent enough time and I want to finish it through and get it to the end.
So what's the big, I don't want to say controversy, that's not the right word, but what's the big discussion about about sweeping.
Yeah,
because I know we've had text to the show about it. I had the mayor on the show last Monday, and we had several texts about it. So what's the?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. So the east end of Charleston has weekly street sweeping. We don't have that anywhere else in the city because we also in the east end have, and that's where I happen to live, but they also have parking enforcement to make sure that's possible. So some people say, well, why does that happen? And I put a lot of work into it. And, I think basically where we are right now is 70-80% of the populace that lives there and is affected by that likes having it because they're concerned that because there's so much on-street parking. I personally don't have a driveway. A lot of people don't have driveways, that they're not able to sweep it. So, most people want that. But there's some people, of course, who, there's a different side of different issues on every issue.
Exactly.
But, so the thing the bill I introduced is just getting into the wonky weeds of it. The sweeping on one side of the street happens at noon to 2. The other side's 9 to noon. Just to harmonize that to make it noon to 2 for both sides. Okay. And so that's the exciting thing that we're talking about tonight that has taken a lot of time.
It is amazing though. And when I have the mayor on, she talks about this and I'd say mayors and council people in other municipalities would probably say the same thing. What really gets people going, and she talks about this, as does the mayor of Hurricane and St. Albans, is trick-or-treating, Christmas parades, and things of that nature, fireworks. That's what gets people going. But hey, at least they're involved, right?
That's right.
At least they're involved. Yeah. Audrey Conn, Small Business Liaison with the City of Charleston.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about what you do.
Sure. So the mayor and City Council created my position a couple of years ago in partnership with the City Collector as well, to just kind of create a person who could be hands-on with local businesses, and whether that's something which is me connecting them with local resources, all the way to the less flashy, less exciting stuff like getting their business license or filing paperwork or taxes and fees and things like that. So, but I'm kind of a boots on the ground person that's out talking to the businesses. I go and check and see what they might need. Maybe something that they need from the city. I can take information back to administration, say, hey, this business needs this. How can we help? And so, yeah, that's a 500-foot view of what I do. But I get to talk to a lot of the businesses in the city and get to know them. And the past couple of years have been really exciting because I'm the first person to hold the position. So,
and talk about the state of small, and either one of you, and Councilman, you can jump in here if you want to, the state of small business in Charleston.
Sure. So that was one of the reasons why we were excited to come on today, because Charleston really is a business-friendly city. And there are tons of local resources that are there for businesses. But as far as the state of local businesses goes, I mean, I'm constantly at ribbon cuttings and grand openings and anniversaries. I even have a ribbon cutting grand opening today on the west side for a business called The Wine Down.
I've heard about that. It's like a wine bar.
A wine
kind of
bar.
A thing.
Yeah, so that's going to be really exciting because we are about to roll out our Capital City Sip and Stroll in that area, in the Elk City area. So we're going to have a PODA down there. So that'll be perfect for this business. So yeah, I mean, that's just an example of what a day-to-day might look like, is just attending a ribbon cutting and showing up for those businesses that might be new, or maybe they're celebrating a 10-year anniversary. Actually, there's going to be a 30-year anniversary for Sam's Uptown Cafe this year. So that's kind of the range, right? So brand new business, the Wine Down, all the way to a 30-year business.
And when you talk about the Elk City district over there, I mean, it's been really, and we've talked about it on this show a lot, Audrey and the Councilman. It's been an area that's seen a lot of growth, especially in the restaurant sector of things.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have Sergio's, and then he opened Albuquerque recently. We're about to have an Appalachian mercantile place called Latcha that's going to open down there. We had a salon that opened recently a few months ago. Just in my 2 years since I've been here, I've seen a lot of growth and things happening down in that particular area.
Councilman, follow up on what she said about the state of small business in Charleston, your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people interested in coming here. We're doing everything we can to help them. I mean, that was when I worked with the mayor on establishing the position, is that, there's a lot that someone wants to start a new business. It's not intuitive necessarily, some of the things that you have to go through. And so, someone who's really good at, doing whatever their business does doesn't mean they're necessarily as good at the other stuff. So, that's the goal, is to kind of like shepherd them through that process, get everything going so that they don't find out, years later they forgot to do something, and then it's more expensive to fix. And so that's the goal is, let's make sure we, got all the licenses and got all the registrations and stuff and have it planned out so that there's no problems going down the road.
And that's a very good point that you bring up, because I learned this in my days in state government. That's kind of one of the jobs that I had within the Secretary of State's office was I worked with a lot of businesses through the Business One Stop Center.
Cool,
There, it was on Washington Street at the time. And the issue, sometimes we would have entrepreneurs that would come in that were so good at what they did, whether it was photography or whatever, but they weren't always as good at handling the licensing and the certifications that are needed and getting this person and that person. But also, I think sometimes businesses, Audrey, you could speak to this, I think that they don't know what sort of help is available out there through, I'm a big believer in the SBA. I'm a big believer in the organizations like that. Will Miller and his group, that do great things in the city. Within the state. There's a lot of help out there, a lot of counseling and a lot of that for businesses. There's no charge.
Yeah, absolutely. The free services are what's really cool because just like you said, Will Miller, the SBDC, the Small Business Development Center, has a location here in Charleston. Like you can walk up and talk to someone. And sometimes that is, a little bit of red tape where someone is trying to call and they're trying to find a person. There are places embedded right here in Charleston that have offices that you can walk up to. And you're talking Charleston Area Alliance that has a business incubator. You're talking Workforce West Virginia, which actually has a free version of Indeed. So they help job seekers and employers. You have Base Innovations, which helps veterans and their families who are trying to open businesses. And like you said, the Business One Stop location. There's a litany of resources here. Advantage Valley, like I could go on with the people that I work with.
And the good thing is that people don't have to remember all that she just said.
Right.
You can just call her. If you live in the city of Charleston, just call Audrey, and then she'll help you get to it.
I've got the list.
So if somebody is thinking about starting a business, again, sometimes people have the skill set and they think, man, I could do this. Coffee shop, whatever the case may be. And then they reach out to you. I want to start a business. Let's call it Dave's tanning salon and taxidermy. Okay.
Nice.
All right. So I want to start a business. Okay. I make that phone call to you. I say, Audrey, I need help.
Sure.
What do you do?
Yeah. So the first thing we want to do is check, I'll get you a business registration. So we want to look at starting your business license process because, I'll send you over to the development services team. You can make sure that your business is in the proper zone or district. And then actually there is, at the City Service Center, sort of our own version of a one-stop location where you start with development services, you find out your business, where you want to put your business, you're in the right district, you can schedule your building inspection over there, you can get your business registration application, and then that's where you will return to turn everything in. So we would start there, and then for Dave's Tanning and Taxidermy, we would talk about
two things I know absolutely nothing about.
Yeah, I bet.
I think I've seen one of those before. It's somewhere in the state.
Yeah, it's a Southern West Virginia thing. That's what we do in Southern West Virginia.
So I would also connect you with local resources. So it sounds like you might want to talk to a business coach at the SBDC. Maybe you need to go through the University of Charleston's Accelerator program and let them teach you how to do some back end things like taxes or whatever. So I can immediately start you with resources, and then we can also do the unfun paperwork stuff and get through that as well so that you're set up.
All right. Councilman, before we let you guys go, what would you say to people that are thinking about starting a business? Why should they choose Charleston to do it? Because there's, and we got a lot of great locations but why should they choose Charleston in your opinion?
Yeah, I think Charleston has an advantage because there is a lot of foot traffic. Our population, I think, doubles every day, during the weekday. So there's a lot of people here, and we have the support. We're willing to do what we can to help people, make it happen. There are vacancies. There are places for people to go.
All right. How do they reach you?
Sure. So my office number, you would just call the regular city number and then dial my extension. So that's 304-348-8000, extension 303. But the best way to get me would probably be email because, like I said, I am boots on the ground. I'm out a lot talking to businesses. So it's my first and last name. Actually, let's go with the other one. It would just be SBL SBL at cityofcharleston.org. So that's SBL for Small Business Liaison at cityofcharleston.org.
All right. Audrey, welcome to the show.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm a huge fan. I'm a rabid Metro News fan. I got to say that. Like, I listen every day.
If we had T-shirts, we'd give you one.
I need one. Yes. Make one just for me.
All right. And Councilman Pepper, great to have you here as well.
Thanks again.
Hang out with me here 1 second, guys. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Line, brought to you part by Live Healthy, West Virginia, presented by WVU Medicine. Live Healthy tackles pressing health issues, heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, and RSV. It's a podcast offering insights into medical breakthroughs and preventative care, featuring WVU Medicine's expert physicians aimed at fostering healthier lifestyles in and beyond West Virginia. Great resource. Check out the latest episodes, WVMetronews.com, to the podcast menu, and start your journey towards better health today. We'll take a break. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Are you a physical therapy assistant and looking for an opportunity in orthopedics, wellness, and athletic care? If so, Generations Physical Therapy is offering flexible work hours and an upbeat atmosphere. With 7 convenient locations, Generations may have a job designed for you. Visit generationspt.com.
Poca Valley Bank has a new name. We are now simply Poca Valley, and here is why we're changing. Our place in the community goes beyond banking. While we still provide the finest in banking services, we also bring excellence in wealth management and financial planning, accounting, and bookkeeping services. Whether you're planning for the future or managing today, we offer the expertise you need. With 8 convenient locations, we're here to help you thrive. Discover the difference at Poca Valley. Relationships matter. Member FDIC.
Opening day has arrived and baseball is back for another season. And while you may not be joining the boys of summer on the field this year, that doesn't mean you can't still hit a home run.
It's way back. It's a home run.
Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is stacked with inventory this spring to help you find the perfect vehicle to get to the game or even just to the grocery store. But you know you're going to get the best deal possible at Walker because Gene and Ryan built their business the old-fashioned way by making friends. There are no gimmicks or games at Walker, just honest, fair deals. And don't forget, Walker is still buying cars too. And that's right, all makes and models are welcome at Walker, and they'll give you top dollar for yours, even if you plan to buy somewhere else. So knock one out of the park this spring and get into that new vehicle that you've been dreaming of.
A grand slam! Holy cow!
Just take the short 20-minute drive from Charleston or Huntington to Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, just off the Hurricane exit of I-64. Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, making friends one deal at a time.
It is 9:23. Welcome back to the show, the Dave Allen Show, 580 Live, brought to you part by Bridge Valley, offering custom-tailored training to supply skilled graduates and apprenticeships for your company. Visit bridgevalley.edu. Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline, 304-345-5858. Tony Taylor text, 304-935-5008. Legislature wrapped up Saturday nights. We will talk to TJ Meadows about that a little bit later on in the show. I don't know what he and Wilson are going to do. They're not at the Capitol Tuesday through Thursday now, so I'll talk to TJ about that. Plus, we got some severe weather. It looks like it's going to be headed our way probably by the time you head home from work today. It's pretty serious stuff. Meteorologist Bryan Hughes from StormTracker 13 is going to join us to talk about that a little bit later on. I want to welcome to the show now some very special folks who I'm just now getting to know. Jen Potter and her husband Davey. They're from the Maddox, the Maddox Potter Foundation. Hey guys, welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning.
Hey.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having. Thank you for coming in today. Jen, I'll start with you because I've been told you were the talker of the two. I think he said that. I think your husband said that with all due respect. Tell us about your son.
Sure. So our son, Maddox Potter, he recently passed away in January from a cancer called rhabdomyosarcoma. Before he was diagnosed, he was an active kid. He was a pretty accomplished junior golfer. He had been playing golf since the age of 4. He started with a single lesson at the first tee of West Virginia. Mm-hmm. And then from there, it just kind of parlayed into something that just captured his spirit. I don't know what it was, but it was something that allowed him to spend a lot of time with his dad. And he became a pretty good golfer. And in 9th grade, in the fall of 2023, he was starting his freshman golf season at George Washington High School, playing a lot of golf, practicing a lot of matches, a lot of time on the simulator, a lot of time at the driving range. And he started complaining of back pain. And it's pretty easy at that point to just not brush it off, but assume that it was from golf.
Yeah, golf, growing pains. I mean, that's not uncommon, yeah.
That's right. Just from all the swinging he was doing, from carrying his golf clubs. And so we went through a few different modalities to try to get him some relief. At first it was able to be managed with some Advil. I think we did some steroids, thinking maybe it was just inflammation, some physical therapy, a visit to the chiropractor. And then eventually it got to the point where it was just, nothing was really helping. It was getting debilitating. And that's what prompted a visit to his pediatrician and a recommendation for some MRIs. And then if things just happened in quick succession after that, MRIs, major back surgery to remove a large tumor, a transfer to Cincinnati Children's, and a stage 4 rhabdomyosarcoma diagnosis.
And how old was he?
He was 15 when he was diagnosed. So we spent a year traveling to and from Cincinnati for his treatments. I want to say in May. He started his treatments in December of 2023. By May of 2024, it became apparent that the standard regimen for his cancer was not giving us the results that we needed. So we had to change things. He did full brain and spine proton therapy. He did traditional photon radiation. At the end of the 13 months that from his diagnosis to his passing, he had gone through 8 different chemotherapy treatments or 8 different protocols, radiation. He'd had a surgery, and it just became really apparent that there was nothing left that was going to stop the disease. Maybe something that could keep it from growing as rapidly, but nothing left that they could do to cure him.
How rare was this particular form of cancer?
So when he was originally diagnosed, I believe the oncologist told us that there are approximately 350 cases per year that they see. So I guess that averages about 1 a day. I think a lot of times when people think of childhood cancer, they think more leukemia or brain tumors. I think those are much more prevalent. But his was rhabdomyosarcoma, and I had only ever heard of one other child with that. Coincidentally, it was the daughter of a girl I went to high school with, and she was the only other child I'd ever heard of in that scenario. So I knew right off the bat that we probably needed to make our way to a more specialized treatment center, and so that's what prompted us to head to Cincinnati Children's.
Talk about, I know you said he was an avid golfer. I'm familiar with his story, even though I've never met you folks till today. I'm familiar with his story. He was a huge Buffalo Bills fan. Talk about what kind of kid he was.
Maddox was a reserved kid. He was quiet. He was shy. He was, all eyes on him was something that he just was probably a nightmare to him, like everybody looking at him. He was very well behaved. Teachers always just, they would tell us like he's just so kind. He's so good in school. He's so well behaved. He made great grades. He truly was. I think he was a very easy kid to parent. Now, granted, we were only blessed with 16 years with him, so we never really got the opportunity to get into those types of things where he's driving alone and going out alone and doing things like that. So that we never got that opportunity. Who's to say what would have transpired? But for the time that we had him, he was a very good boy. He liked being home. He preferred being in his own space. He was never one of those kids that needed to be part of a crowd. He didn't have any type of fear of missing out on anything. And he was incredibly smart, incredibly intelligent. And I think that's one of the things I think about the most is I don't think all of his potential died with him. I think very much so that some of the potential that he had, it's mine and Davey's responsibility to carry that on. And we will, and that's our goal. But his intelligence and his mind, I don't have that. I can't do anything with that. So that was something, that's something that I think was one of the most heartbreaking things to me is, oh boy, what could he have done?
Talk about the outpouring of support from the community, because as I said, I was familiar with the story from all the media coverage that it got in the paper and the radio and television and whatever. Even though Charleston is a larger area compared to some areas of the state, it's still got a bit of a small town feel, and the community really, really rallied around this young man and continue to rally around him and you guys in what you're doing now. Talk about that community support.
That's right. So when Maddox was first in Cincinnati and was first diagnosed, I'll never forget, Davey made a Facebook post. And it had to do with our youngest son. But what he said was, Brooks played a heck of a basketball game tonight for his big brother, Maddox Potter. And he tagged us at Cincinnati Children's. And I remember thinking, oh, I don't think I'm ready for that, because then you start getting text messages and questions. And his response to me was, well, I think the more prayers, the better. And so that kind of flipped my mindset. I was like, you know what? You're exactly right. You're exactly right. That's what we need. We need prayers and we need support. And from there, I started making simple updated posts about his progress and what he was doing. And I think, to your point, Charleston is a larger community. It does have a small town feel, but also within this city, we were blessed to have other smaller pockets of support too. The golf community really stepped up and rallied around us. John Adams, GW, Holtz Elementary, where he went to school, where his younger brother is, and he has another younger brother at John Adams. All of these my work, his work, everybody just they stepped up as a whole, but within the community, there were also little pockets that supported us too. And so it has been extraordinary. I think that's the only way that I can describe it. I know that people that don't live in West Virginia have a particular view of this state.
Oh, yeah.
I understand that. However, you don't find better people than in West Virginia, because when they tell you they are praying for you, they mean it. I mean, they genuinely are. They are going back to their churches and their communities, and they're putting you on prayer lists, and they're gathering up donations for you. I mean, they mean it. So we have been incredibly blessed, and Maddox was very, very blessed in his short life.
Talk about going forward. What are you doing? I mean, you got this foundation that you're doing. You said, and these were your words, Jen, you said that the kind of person that he was did not pass away with him. The spirit is still here. Talk about what you are doing going forward with this.
That's right. So our goal with the Maddox Potter Foundation it's threefold. So we want to help other families who unfortunately are going to be in the same position that we are in. There are going to be new kids diagnosed every day. There are going to be new families where the rug is yanked completely out from under them, and it's disorienting at first. Mm-hmm. And it really takes a long time to get your feet back underneath you. So we want to offer support in any way we can in that regard. We also want to further sarcoma research. There are 100 different subtypes of sarcomas, and a lot of these research centers depend on private funding. So that's one of our goals. Science just wasn't ready for Maddox, and that's the bottom line. It's not ready for a lot of these kids, and so that's the holy grail for every type of cancer is find the cure. We also want to encourage the growth of junior golf. Like I said, so much of Maddox's life was spent on the golf course. A lot of his character qualities were developed on the golf course. And golf is also a fantastic sport for kids who are going through cancer treatment. When you're going through these treatments, you have periods where you're immunosuppressed and you can't be around large crowds.
Yeah.
You can be out on the golf course. It's just you and maybe your dad or your mom or a buddy with you, or even you by yourself.
Yeah.
When you're going through cancer treatments, you also have periods of time where you are very anemic and you also have very low platelets, which puts you at a big risk for excessive bleeding. So you can't play any type of contact sport. You couldn't play basketball or football or hockey, but you could play golf. So the golf piece is because, number one, it was important to Maddox, but number two, it can be a wonderful way for these kids to still get out and be active and have, when they're feeling like it, just, good physical activity, be out in the sun, get vitamin D, whatever it is that being outside does for you. Because I think all things being equal, anyone is going to have a better outcome if they stay active.
I would agree with that 100%. And so does science. They 100% agree with that. Have you been in contact with maybe across the country with other parents that have gone through similar things like you have? Do you continue to offer support for them? Talk about that.
I follow stories of other families who are going through treatments. I have been in contact with some of them. It can be a very isolating feeling. There are times when you want to talk to other people in the same boat that you're in, but then there are times when you just want to pretend like it's not your reality. So I think it just varies. I am trying very hard. Davey and I both are trying very hard to be honest in my grief, I suppose is how I would say it. So I've made posts on Facebook since Maddox has passed away just about the reality of losing a child and grief and what happens to you and your family dynamic when you have a tragedy like that. So, yes, I do stay in touch with people, but I've also realized that I could lose my child in the exact same way that somebody else did, and it's still what's going to work for me, what's going to get me from minute to minute is not the same as what's going to get them. You could lose a child suddenly, and as shocking as that would be, the end result is still the same. They're gone. And, what you need to do to move forward, to put one foot in front of the other, there's no uniformity to it.
Before we let you go, what do you want the listeners and the world to know about your son?
I want them to know what a faithful, steadfast boy he was. He found out very quickly in his treatment process that this was probably not going to work for him. And he said as much to me. One day he said to me, we were driving to Cincinnati, and he said, if I don't make it out of this, I hope somebody can learn something from me. And then that's what we'll do, buddy. Then that's what we'll do. He was 15, 16 years old when this was happening. There was no circling around it, talking around it. You had to have these very blunt conversations, and he wanted somebody to learn. So he was faithful. He had no fear about where he was going. He just wanted to make sure that somehow, some way, we do something so that at some point this doesn't happen to a 16-year-old.
As we close, tell us about the foundation. How can people learn more about it? You're on social media, website. What do you got?
Well, you can go to maddoxpotter.org. That's the landing page for the foundation. Also, we have like Instagram pages and Facebook pages with the Maddox Potter Foundation. We're really excited about it. We have the kickoff coming up next Thursday, and then the golf tournament, which will be on Friday, will be an annual thing, and we're really looking forward to it.
Where's the golf tournament going to be?
It's going to be at his home course at Berry Hills.
Okay.
And it's, unfortunately and fortunately at the same time, it's sold out very quick. So going forward, still like to keep it at Berry Hills, but maybe have to do it in like 2 or 3 separate flights, just depending upon the demand for it. So
okay. Well, guys, it's an inspirational story, and I like I said, I was familiar with it through the media accounts, but I'd never met either one of you until today. I appreciate you taking time to be here with us, but also appreciate you telling your story and telling the world what a great young man Maddox was. Appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Back after this.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses bring first-class businesses to your community.
When I set out to build our firm, it was built for greatness. It was built for you. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Office 222 Capitol Street, Charleston. Cases will be handled by West Virginia licensed attorneys. The attorney in this ad is not licensed in West Virginia. ForThePeople.com.
Life is full of challenges. Finding out your teenage daughter got a full-arm tattoo, or your next-door neighbor took up the drums. One challenge you shouldn't face, being delinquent with your property taxes. The Kanawha County Sheriff's Department reminds you that the deadline is May 1st. After May 1st, you'll pay penalties and pay to have your name published in a big newspaper ad, so everyone will know. Talk about a challenge. Call 304-357-0210 before May 1st and pay your taxes. 304-357-0210.
Looking for live music on Friday nights, trivia on Wednesdays, and daily specials for lunch and dinner? Head to TK's Pizza and Sports Bar. They're this week's 50-50 Friday. Home of the Blue Creek Special Sandwich, you won't want to miss their delicious menu. Located at 109 Creed's Landing in Elkview behind GoMart. See the full menu on their Facebook page. Friday at 9 a.m., go to WCHSnetwork.com and click the 50-50 Friday button to get 50% off gift certificates for TK's Pizza and Sports Bar, courtesy of the WCHS family of networks.
The latest in news, talk, and sports when 580 WCHS is brought to you by Jarrett Construction. Call 304-344-9140 for more information.
Right on time, right on budget. Call on Jarrett Construction.
18 minutes away from 10. Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony V. Taylor text 304-935-5008. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you in part by Pinnacle Consultants. Poor indoor air quality can cause a variety of health issues, allergies, respiratory problems, and more. Pinnacle offers specialized indoor air quality services for residential, commercial, and industrial type settings. Visit pinnaclecorp.net because what you don't know can hurt you. Let's bring in meteorologist Bryan Hughes from StormTracker 13. Mr. Hughes, good morning.
Well, good morning to you. How are you doing today?
I am doing fine. By the way, I'm going to get a little personal here for you, man. You look great. I mean, you also not that you were a big old fat guy to begin with, but you're losing some weight, man. You look good enough to be on TV.
Well, you know what? They say the camera adds 10 pounds, and boy, did it ever add a lot of pounds to me. So,
well, whatever you're doing, congratulations. Let's talk about the weather, because we got it's springtime in Appalachia, which means sometimes we have these severe storms. And it looks like today is going to be one of those days.
It really is, and we've got a lot of parameters that set us up perfectly for a classic afternoon severe storm event. You know, a lot of what we've had in recent memory has been in the late night and overnight hours, things of that nature, early morning hours. Something that is exhausting to many people because you just can't see the storm coming. But we have afternoon thunderstorms, and between 5 and about 8 o'clock is the time that we've got to keep our eyes really pinned to the sky and at least listening to the radio station. When you hear those EAS tones that go out over 580, when you're listening to V100, KWS, anything of that nature, you've got to pay attention to what we're talking about. We are going to have thunderstorms that are capable of producing damaging wind gusts today, along with large hail. This isn't just hail, but we have the potential to have large hail today. So that's stuff that'll do damage to vehicles, roof damage, things of that nature. And also, listen, we had storms up in Nicholas County the other day. There was a guy who got caught out in the hail. His back was all bruised up from the large hailstones that happened there. So what we're telling you is pay attention. The times to be really alert is going to be between 5 and 8 o'clock this evening. While we do the damaging wind gusts and the large hail possible, tornadoes are possible this afternoon as well. Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma says that we have between a 5 and 9% chance of any storm producing a tornado today. So our forecast models are very high on the tornado chance today, the rotating storms, and they're also very high on the hail threat for today. So just be aware of it. It's all going to come in from the west and northwest and then work its way off to the east-southeast. And then after that, we will be able to, relax and then enjoy a much cooler day tomorrow. And just looking ahead, Friday will pop back up to 80. Some storms will be strong possible on Saturday. And Easter Sunday, a sprinkle chance with temperatures in the low to mid 70s.
And again, you said the timetable of this is probably during the 5 o'clock hour, and people might be kind of fooled if they're out and about. Maybe they're taking lunch outside today. It's absolutely beautiful. It's going to be beautiful here in the Kanawha Valley leading up to those storms, right?
Yeah, it's going to be wonderful. I mean, listen, temperatures today are going to be in the mid to upper 70s, but the wind's going to be out there about 10 to 20 out of the southwest today. But those winds this afternoon, this evening. I mean, we're definitely looking at some damaging wind gusts. But 5 to 8 o'clock is going to be the time of grand concern. And then tomorrow, just make note that we will have a northwest wind about 15 to 30 miles per hour, and with it only in the upper 50s, it's going to be feeling pretty gosh darn cool for a Tuesday.
Be weather alert. Hey, Bryan, I appreciate you being here, my friend. Thanks a lot. And I know you guys aren't going to get a whole lot of sleep, you and Spencer and Chris. So keep an eye on it for you. We'll be watching and listening. Thanks a lot, man.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
Bryan Hughes, StormTracker 13. Yeah, just know you got some severe weather, and this is not something to play with this afternoon. And a timetable starting at about 5 o'clock this afternoon. So you may encounter it on your drive home, but it looks like that 5 to 8 window is going to be pretty intense here in the Kanawha Valley, with possibility of tornadoes and large hail, damaging winds. If you got an event planned this evening, a high school baseball game, little league, soccer, whatever, chances are it's going to be canceled because it ain't looking good. But it's that small window between about 5 and 8. Then after 8, it's going to start to calm down a little bit. So just be aware of that. Older adults should protect themselves against severe respiratory disease. Talk to your doctor about flu, COVID-19, and RSV vaccines. Risk less, do more. Get started at vaccines.gov, paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. I mean, I got a couple. I'll do a text here. Text says, Dave, Trump never done anything for West Virginia first time around. It's gotten worse the second time. He stopped all infrastructure and jobs that Biden bills were bringing to our state, says a texter. Coming up on Metro News Midday with 13 News and Tonight Live anchor Amanda Barron and myself today at noon, powered by Salango Law. We'll, of course, spend a lot of time talking about the just wrapped up legislative session. Senator Eric Tarr is going to join us on the show today. Stephen Allen Adams of Ogden Newspapers will join us. Again, the weather will be a big story. We're going to be joined by Brian's partner over at StormTracker 13, Spencer Adkins, to talk about that. A follow-up from our Friday show with the guy they call Taco Man, Robert Diaz. He, of course, from McDowell County, and he did quite a powerful interview with us on Friday's show. It started off, to be honest with you, to be a fun little piece. Amanda and I were joking off the air. We thought we were going to talk about different types of salsas and quesos, but it went in a totally different direction, as how he explained that area continues to suffer following the flooding from a couple of months ago. And a side note, you can check out my Davitorial video I posted on Dave Allen Radio on Facebook and at Dave A70 on X about that. So we're going to have a follow-up with him. It's Monday, which means we'll have our Mayor Monday segment. We'll go around the state as we do every Monday, talking to different mayors. Today, one of my favorite cities in the Mountain States, the city of Ripley in Jackson County. Mayor Carolyn Rader will join us. A side note here, the city of Ripley just lost one of the biggest proponents of the land of the Vikings with the passing of longtime city councilman John McGinley. He passed after a long battle with cancer. John was a good man. He was a big cheerleader for the city of Ripley and all of Jackson County. Longtime listener, too, to this show. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family. We'll talk to Mayor Rader about John and other things going on in the city. Plus, after 2:30, it's Open Line West Virginia. Nothing but your calls and text. Metro News Midday, powered by Salango Law, airing on this and many other Metro News stations around the state with myself and 13 News and Tonight Live anchor Amanda Barron. That's noon till 3. On this show, the local show coming up tomorrow, among the guests will be Attorney General J.B. McCuskey. That's coming up on tomorrow's show. Tex says it seems like the tariff turmoil is cover for deporting people without due process. The lack of concern from Congress of due process being ignored is disturbing. First, they sent immigrants to El Salvador. You may be next. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Snap Fitness. Snap with a wide array Professional wellness services, including customized personal training, licensed recovery experts, and a staff of dietitians. 5 great locations: Charleston, Hurricane, Winfield, Barbersville, and Milton. Visit snapfitness.com for details. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses want to thank you for shopping locally.
I'm Doug Leach, founder and CEO of Ascension Recovery Services. We've done a number of projects with Jarrett Construction. Finding people that really care about what they do and care about what we do is pretty unique. In Jarrett Construction, they care. They're really, really good people. Good people do the right thing, and they're very skilled. They have all the qualities that make up just a perfect construction partner, and they just build us a phenomenal building.
Right on time, right on budget. Call on Jarrett Construction.
It's official. Newsmax has become a news giant. It's even listed on the New York Stock Exchange. Over 40 million Americans regularly turn to Newsmax for the news they need to know. They're tuning into the Newsmax channel on all major cable systems. They watch Newsmax 2 on all streaming platforms. They go online to newsmax.com for breaking headlines. Millions more have downloaded the free Newsmax app on their smartphone and home TV. Reuters says Newsmax is one of the top news brands in America. Even President Trump says Newsmax is terrific, and he's watching. Tens of millions of Americans like you have made the switch to Newsmax for the news they can trust. So make the switch today. You won't ever look back.
Join YWCA Charleston on Saturday, April 26th for the 9th annual Race to End Racism, sponsored by TC Energy, Toyota, and Huntington National Bank. The 5K run or 1 mile walk will begin at 9 a.m. near 101 Kanawha Boulevard West and continue through the west side of Charleston to unite our community in standing together against racism. Proceeds will benefit the YWCA Community Enrichment Program. Register today at ywcacharleston.org/race. That's ywcacharleston.org/race.
The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by Meeks Rentals and Leasing, offering stress-free property management for both renters and property owners. Visit meeksrentals.com. A lot of bills, controversial ones, discussed as the session was winding down. You can read all about them at wvmetronews.com. But one I quickly want to focus on, I'll bring TJ Meadows in here as well. And Brad writes about it this morning, wvmetronews.com. You remember a couple of years ago when the voters rejected a proposed amendment that would give the state the ultimate say-so over State Board of Education policies? Yeah, that one. Well, the legislature said, not so fast. And we know better than you. So they approved a bill on Friday anyway. Several Republicans spoke out against it, as well they should, in my humble opinion. As the voters have stated, they didn't want the legislature to have this kind of control out of Charleston. The amendment, in its exact language, would have given the legislature the authority to review and to approve State Board of Education rules and policy. That was defeated by the voters, 58 to 42%. 50 of the state's 55 counties voted against it in 2022. As was pointed out by a few legislators, including Republicans, I'm just not a huge fan of that, to be honest with you. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by your hometown baseball team, the Charleston Dirty Birds. Go Mart Home Run Derby coming this Saturday. Details available on their social media and dirtybirdsbaseball.com. TJ Meadows is with us. You, my friend, also not a huge fan.
Not a huge fan at all.
And can we expect a commentary on that?
I'm working on one right now, and one of the angles that I explore, it'll probably be out this evening. But, Dave, the power of a constitution originates from the people. It's the whole idea of a republic. The concept refers to popular sovereignty. And when we ignore the will of the people, and they have spoken on this issue, what happens to the idea of the consent of the governed? And people are saying, oh, here he goes again. Here he goes again. Here's the problem. This may be a little thing to some people, but little things, cracks in the dam, have a way of becoming big things. And the first time you ignore the concept of popular sovereignty and you do something, today it's saying that all of the policies of the State Board of Education have to go before the legislature. But what's next? It's easier to do it the next time and the next time after that. That's what really rubs me here, is the fact that we've totally disregarded the fundamentals of the state constitution and for that matter, our United States Constitution.
The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by Huston's Pizza. Get a large 18-inch pepperoni pizza and a large tossed salad, $21.99. Eat in, pick up, or get delivery by going to HustonsPizza.com. Here's my question about all this, and the listeners have heard me say this, TJ, is isn't the Republican Party the one that was supposed to want to give more power back to local entities? I mean, didn't that?
I thought we liked small government, but I'm not a member of the party.
That's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that it seems like many, and not all, because as I said, there were several Republicans that spoke out against this. On this and other things, it seems to me like they want to bring the power to Charleston, and that's so anti-Republican, in my opinion.
The best voice I have heard on this, on either side of the Capitol, is Senator Amy Grady. She stood up and warned about this, voted against this, and said, look, if we feel that the voters were confused, and we can get into that argument, I don't think they were. If we feel there's some other issue at play, then we should put this back on the ballot, a single amendment, and we should ensure that voters are educated. We should have to go out and get the populace to understand our issue here and have them vote in the affirmative. Outstanding idea. Why it didn't happen, I don't know, but that would have been the way to handle this.
I, like a lot of people, was watching the closing moments of the legislature, and I am not by any stretch of the imagination a parliamentarian, but I saw stuff Saturday night that made that made my head spin, man.
So we'll get into that with Joey Garcia. Sure. He's going to be on at 10:06. I won't opine on it at this point, other than to say, there were some balls that got dropped.
I had no idea where you were going with that. Just so you know, you said that.
So I think there's definitely some questions that need answering. And look, maybe there are good answers to those questions.
Possibly. I'm going to have Senator Tarr on the midday show today, too, so maybe we can
But
get
let me leave you
things.
with this. If rules are to have purpose and to have value, they can't be like ice cream, easily melted.
Text says, Dave, I think the legislature should be able to review decisions made by the State Board of Education simply because legislators are elected. Members of the State Board of Education are not. Your thoughts on that?
I mean,
my biggest issue with this, TJ, not to interrupt, which I just did, my biggest issue with this is that the voters said they didn't want it.
Exactly.
That's my biggest issue with this. You can get into a fundamental argument over it, but I think bottom line in 2022, the voters said that they did not want this.
Yes, and that trumps the policy question here. It can become about policy, and then, again, back to what Grady wanted to do. If there's a reason this makes good policy sense, then let's put it to the voters and let them decide. And that trumps everything. When we start to do things without the proper realm and the proper functioning of government and these constitutional questions, these kinds of things, that gives me pause. I don't like it.
All right. You got Garcia on the show. What else you got on the show today?
Yeah, so coming up at 10:30, Riley Moore joins us from Washington. We'll get into tariffs and a whole lot more. Brad McElhaney at 11:06 on that legislative wrap-up. May talk a little Masters golf. You know, I was tuned to that yesterday. I'm sure you were, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Look, I'm Team Bryson. I know that's probably not popular.
99.9% of America is.
Really? I was getting scolded on social media for being Team Bryson.
I don't think so. My good friend Michelle Chris from the West Virginia Broadcasters, she's a big Bryson fan.
I just like DeChambeau. I like his style of golf. I like that he challenges the status quo. I like the single plane swing. I like that he's always looking to improve the way he does things. I'm down with him.
All right. So TJ and Wilson coming up, 10:06 Metro News Talk Line. Coming up on this show tomorrow, Attorney General J.B. McCuskey among the guests on the show tomorrow. Amanda and I will be along at 12 noon with Metro News Midday powered by Salango Law. TJ will be a part of that today. Senator Eric Tarr is here. Stephen Allen Adams, Mayor Carolyn Rader. Amongst others that will be on the show today. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. You really had me a little frightened the way that you posed that question about. Well, I'm going to leave it at that. Poor Ryan.
Ain't my first rodeo, big boy.
Ryan is sweating in here a little bit. All right, we got to go. Folks, be careful of the weather. It's going to be pretty nasty later today. I'll see you at noon. Till then, have fun and love somebody.
WCHS AM 96.5 FM Charleston and 104.5 Cross Lanes, a WVRC media station. We're proud to live here too.